I live in Romania, more precisely, Cluj-Napoca city, widely known for the Untold Music Festival. As you may know, this region, Transylvania, is popular for vampire myths and legends. Today, however, I want to present a different kind of native creature that may roam freely in the dark. As a child, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. They were living in a village not far from my city. In the daytime, I was helping them at the farm, but the most exciting time for me was the nighttime story time. Because, after dark, my cousins and I would gather around Grandma. She had plenty of stories to share. Most of them were scary, though. Maybe she wanted to scare us to keep us from going outside at night. Who knows? Maybe out there are really some scary night creatures. Now, one story that remained in my mind and still sends chills down my spine is about a pricolici. Some say that a pricolici is a mix of a vampire and a werewolf, with a better resemblance of the latter. My grandma described him as a bipedal wolf, with glowing eyes and the capability to talk. Allow me to share with you her allegedly true story. This happened in my grandma's youth. She was at the village school, together with her best friend, Sava. They both had been punished for not doing their homework, so they had to kneel down on corn seeds and stay after school hours until their homework was done. Kneeling down in corn seeds is a very painful experience, but that was a long time ago. Honestly, I'm surprised there was even a school in the village at the time. Anyway, it was late November, so the sun was setting fast. After the two of them finished their work, they both decided to go home together to Sava's house and spend the night there. Sava's house was located at the border of the village. You had to pass through a small forest to get there. That night it was nearly a full moon, and the wind was blowing gently with the smell of rotten meat. At a certain point, my grandma felt as if someone was watching them. Suddenly, they both heard this evil laugh from the trees above them. They panicked and clung to each other. From a tree branch, a humanoid black shape emerged from the dark. It had yellow glowing eyes, and its head resembled a rabid wolf. But the scariest part was its continuous evil laugh, as if the creature was mocking them and it knew they were going to die. "What do you want? Leave us alone," my grandma screamed.
"I will devour your souls and bathe in your blood,"
the creature responded with a demonic voice. They started to run, the creature pursuing them closely, jumping from tree to tree. Its shadow was projected to the ground by the pale light of the moon, so my grandma knew when to avoid its grasp. Fortunately, they were not too far from the nearest house. They started knocking at the door when they arrived at it, begging for someone to open up. An old man and his wife let them inside. The beast continued to laugh at them, saying that it would devour their flesh. The woman prayed to the Lord with them, and the old man rubbed the doors and the windows with holy incense. He also put crosses at every door handle. That night, nobody in the house could close their eyes to sleep. The old man told the girls that the creature was a pricolici, an undead spirit that comes to torture the living. The following day, the old man went to church, and together with the village's priest, they formed a mob. They had torches and sickles. One of them told the rest that the creature was hiding during the day in an abandoned barn. Once they got there, the beast was sleeping in the hay. There was a smell of rotten meat and animal bones. A village man poked the belly of the creature, and it screamed out in pain. It soon found it was vastly outnumbered. He cursed them all and promised it would be back for revenge one day. With a strong jump, it broke the barn roof and disappeared. Ever since then, no one has ever seen anything suspicious, not even the people from the nearby villages. I was thinking about this particular story because I'm back in my grandparents' village, walking in the cemetery near the woods. I brought some flowers to show respect for my grandma's tombstone, and I tried to remember all the good moments we spent together. And suddenly, out of nowhere, I smelled the scent of death nearby, and I swear I heard this evil laughter. So to begin my story, I have to let you know what happened too close to home for comfort. In the winter of 2000, we moved from the Midwest to a southern state, where we purchased a good 80-something acres. We're horse people and love to trail ride, as well as participate in the local rodeos. That being said, we had about 8 horses on the property at the time. None of them were very skittish at all. We had many other animals and do a lot of hunting on our land as well. I've never felt scared on our property, even on moonless nights with only the glow of my LG flip phone, or whenever I'd sneak out of the house at night, walking the quarter-mile through the fields and trees to the end of my driveway. That's where my friend would be waiting to pick me up for our adventures. One night when I was a bit older, 19 to 20-ish, my younger brother was around 15 or 16, the two of us and my live-in boyfriend at the time decided to go and watch the stars. We had the best view from the middle of our driveway that was between a horse pasture and an open, marshy, tall grassland-like area. The grass was always tall because it was always so muddy on that side. We could never completely brush hog it all with the tractor or mow it with a lawnmower. This marshy area is to the left side of us and the horse barn to the right. The horse barn was just this open building with stalls, but at the time the horses weren't in there. They were grazing around the barn. We were lying on the warm hood of my Mercury Cougar with a blanket under us, watching the stars and catching a few shooting stars here and there too. Everything was calm and beautiful as it always felt, listening to the beautiful song of our local coyote pack as they howled at the moon. All of a sudden, a new sound sent chills throughout all of us. We heard this howl that was different from the coyotes' howls. It didn't even sound like a wolf. My uncle, who lived with us, was a huge wolf guy. I'd like to think I knew what they sounded like, and I could tell the difference between a wolf and a coyote howl. This was neither, and when it howled the first time, everything else just shut up in response. Everything went quiet, and then, not too long later, we heard it again. We then heard the coyotes scattering in the distance, or at least that's what we thought it was. Now I'm not so sure, but at the time it made sense with what we encountered. The horses were acting super nervous when just before, when the coyotes were singing, they were calm and grazing. Now they were snorting and flicking their ears in all directions, noses blowing, as they tried to see what the danger was around them. We then decided it would probably be a good time to head back inside the house to grab a gun and flashlight. So we go to turn the car around, and we spot something. Whatever it is, it looks like the silhouette of a very large, mangy wolf. On the way to the house, we had to cross a creek bed that recently was pretty washed out, and it off-centered my car on a rock, getting us stuck. This meant we had to walk in the dark without protection for about a third to a half of the length of a football field. What made this part scary was the fact that we had to climb this big steep hill and go through a bunch of overgrown trees on the way. All the while, that feeling that someone or something was watching and possibly following us. My brother ran like a bullet back to the house, out of breath and freaking out our parents when he got back. He told them what we saw and explained that we needed to investigate. I, however, refused to run because I knew that could trigger a predator's instincts. When you run, they run, wanting to chase down their prey. No, this girl was very cautious, trying to make as little noise as possible. I jogged from tree to tree, hoping that if something did come after me, maybe I could get up one of these trees fast enough. My boyfriend walked fast right up the middle of the hill and was in the house before I was. So yeah, the boys left the only girl alone outside. Soon I made it too. My parents gave us the keys to the truck, a spotlight, and the Beretta handgun. Then the three of us headed for that opening where the horses got nervous. From the truck, using the spotlight, there in that marshy area, we spotted about 24 sets of glowing red eyes. Each set was only about a foot or so off the ground, but these things' backs were much taller. As we tried to get a good look at them, They would stay out of the ring of light from the spotlight. No matter what we did, we couldn't get a really good look at them. But I will describe what we could see. Their heads were low to the ground. They were super thin and skinny. Their front end was much lower than the hindquarters. They could stand up like a person too, hopping up on a round hay bale like this. They seemed very intelligent too. We pulled the truck in as far as we could. Then we shut off the lights of the truck for about 5 minutes. Then we kicked on the high beams, hoping to surprise these animals. But they were still in the grass just on the edge, where our lights would touch the ground and surrounding area, instead of them. My boyfriend got out of the truck with the gun to get closer, to see if he could shoot one, so we could find out what they were. After all, they seemed to be dangerous to the horses. As he did this, my brother and I stayed in the truck, controlling the lights and watching around him for a sneak attack or anything like it. Come to find out, that is exactly what they were trying to do. At least a dozen of them were circled in a half circle around him before long, with the truck at his back, while another group of them was off to the right of us under the branches of the tree line. They were making noises and jumping on the old rotten hay bales that we had over there at the time. It was insane because it seemed like they were trying to say, "Hey, look over here, let us distract you." These animals were too smart, and there were too many of them. Then it happened. My boyfriend fired a shot, then another. He fired 6 in a row in rapid succession, which seemed to make contact because something fell to the ground and didn't move. When he tried to get closer to see if he got it, they got protective of it and began to close the circle. He then said screw this, if he did kill it he would just get it tomorrow, when it was safe and the sun was up. He told us, let's get out of here. Quickly, we drove home, telling everyone what happened and what we saw. The next morning after the sun came up around 6:30 to 7ish, we went to go and see if we could find blood or the body. But all we found was a flat circle in the grass where you could tell something had laid down there. But no blood, no trail, no hair, nothing. That was the only evidence we had, and it wasn't enough. We talked to so many local hunters, game wardens, park rangers, military, everyone I knew who might have a game camera or possibly had seen it before. But no, the only answers I got were mountain lions or possibly boars. I know for a fact it wasn't either of those. Mountain lions and panthers don't hunt in packs, and they do not act like that. And boars, let's be real, those were not boars. So what was this? A chupacabra? Wild dogs? Coyotes? I don't think we'll ever know. But I still live in the same house. I have my own kids now, and even today I make sure that we're all very cautious. If we are out at night, we have protection and a big fire in the yard. I want to set up game cams, but I think I'd rather not find out what's lurking around our property. By the way, this property used to be Native American land and burial grounds. I know this from the college coming out and finding pottery and arrowheads around here. My son even says he sees these things called hide-behinds at night when he looks out the windows. So maybe we have skinwalkers. But whatever it is, there is always something unexplainable happening around here. But it's still my home, and I would not live anywhere else. I live in an apartment complex surrounded by woods in North Carolina. At the time, I was living with 2 roommates and my boyfriend. My 2 roommates were the only ones with a TV, and at the time they were off house sitting. This will be important later. I remember my boyfriend saying that he was going to go get groceries in a moment. I was exhausted due to my poor health as a result of having cystic fibrosis, and I told my boyfriend I'd be lying down for a nap while he was gone. He left the TV on for me in the other room to make it seem more lively in the apartment while he was gone, and I soon fell asleep. I'm not sure how long I slept, but I woke up to hear my boyfriend calling my name.
Melissa, come help me with this, Melissa.
I assumed John, my boyfriend, was back from the grocery shopping, but his voice sounded wrong. It sounded like he was talking through a walkie-talkie, or it was somehow mechanical in a way. I shrugged and got out of bed, moving to the back door and opening it, turning on the light. I froze there on the back porch, hearing the same call coming from the woods instead of from the parking lot.
Melissa, come help me with this, Melissa.
I then saw them, 2 red glowing eyes, 7 feet off the ground in the tree line. Suddenly I felt hands on my shoulders and gasped, nearly screaming. The eyes disappeared then as I turned around. Melissa, what are you doing out here? It was John, the real John. I told him how I thought he was calling my name, but I thought that it couldn't be him. He told me he had been in the other bedroom watching TV the whole time after putting the groceries away. He then looked at me seriously. I heard it call me too, using your voice, he said, explaining why he had to come through the back door. I have heard stories like this, and I believe we may have encountered a skinwalker. We've since had the apartment smudged with sage, and we used salt on all entryways that faced the woods. Thankfully, we haven't encountered it again, but we have had other encounters. But those are stories for another time. During the month of July in 2022, a few friends of mine, along with their dads, were going on a trip into the Boundary Waters. The Boundary Waters are a huge expanse of totally natural woods, stretching for hundreds of miles. In between these woods are thousands of lakes with small land bridges that we call portages, in between the forests. We packed about 200 pounds of gear for 5 people total. We fit that onto a 3-person canoe and a 2-person canoe. Before the trip started, I was already nervous of these lands. Due to my native heritage, I've heard many stories about evil spirits and tricksters like the Wendigo, Skinwalker, and Iktomi. Being in their territory of origin was nerve-wracking, along with the knowledge of these spirits enjoying messing with mixed bloods like myself. Starting out at Snowbank Lake, we canoed, portaged, and camped our way deeper and deeper into the woods of the Boundary Waters. It started when we were at the deepest point of our journey, about 15 miles in. My friends Jay and S had been stung by a wasp and wanted to go back to camp, and were discussing the matter. But me, being terribly afraid of wasps and insects, I was already gone, sprinting about 15 yards away from them. I knew they would probably be heading back to camp soon to grab medical supplies for their stings, but then I heard a noise that chilled me. A strange, almost uncanny version of what sounded like Jay's voice. All I heard was, "Hey," in Jay's soft but commanding voice, warped by something I didn't know. But it came from the opposite direction they were. I froze, feeling goosebumps going up and down my body in waves of fear. Tears welled up in my eyes, and the forest became almost completely silent, except for Jay, S, and their dads talking in the distance. Then a branch snapped about 25 yards away. As soon as I heard that snapping branch, my head shot right around to strangely shaped branches that I soon realized were antlers. These antlers were 7.5 feet off the ground. My fight-or-flight instinct kicked in. I ran as fast as I ever had before. I bolted back into camp, and when the others looked at me like I was crazy, I told them that I'd run back into the wasp. From then on, I made sure to stay close to everyone else for the rest of the trip. Soon after that, I began to have nightmares. They would lessen in frequency over time, but even now I still have them as of November 2022. This nightmare is fuzzy, except for one part. A skinwalker-looking creature staring at me from the forest while I'm with my family. Its legs are stretched out as long as possible as it stands at 8 feet tall, its teeth halfway bared. In my nightmares, it has red eyes, sometimes yellow, but those eyes always pierce into my consciousness like a dagger. It radiates only one thing: death. Every time I look into its eyes, I have this primal fear, but I can't move. Now the dream has progressed to me and my family driving away as fast as we can, pushing 80 miles per hour on a narrow state park road. But no matter how fast we go, it just keeps up. Its legs move effortlessly, still outstretched, running like a man, but something is still very off about it. The nightmare ends soon after, and I wake up for the day. No other anomalies have occurred since the dreams began at the Boundary Waters. I have a cross above my bed and on my doorknob, just in case. Remember to stay aware and safe in the woods. I can't help but feel that I saw something out there. Something with antlers, straight from Native American folklore.